Have you ever had the experience where you saw something and then you thought to yourself, boy, I wish I could unsee that. I wish I could go back to when I hadn't seen that. Or maybe you heard something and you wish you could go back and unhear it. Or maybe you tasted something and it wasn't all that good. You wish that you could not remember what that tasted like. Or for me personally, the worst experiences I've ever had was I smelled something. Wish I could unsmell it. I wonder, what would it be like if we could unlearn something? What if we were to unlearn Christianity? What if all of the ideas, all of the notions, all of the morality, what if everything we've ever been told or heard or considered about our Christian faith, we could for a moment unlearn and then relearn? What would be different? I'm convinced so frequently in our church, in our culture, when we learn Christianity or when we were raised in Christianity, when we were taught what it meant to be a disciple of Jesus or a good Christian or a good Catholic, whatever the case may be, say what you like, we've often learned the notion that the point of all this is simply to be holy. And holiness is often defined as some personal rules of morality and personal prayer practices, and that if we get a handle on sin and if we are good about prayer, then we can find ourselves holy, and that's it. We've become what we're supposed to be. What would it take to unlearn that? What would it be if we could somehow divorce ourselves from such a superficial notion of discipleship? Because the real core of being a disciple of Jesus is not personal holiness. Don't get me wrong, right? Don't go writing letters to the bishop. Because I'm not saying personal holiness is unimportant. No, it is important. It's just not the most important. Being personally holy is good. It's just not the highest good. The highest good. The most important thing is what Jesus was saying in the gospel today. You are the salt of the earth. There was almost nothing in the ancient world that was more important than salt and more essential to life and health than salt. In fact, when the Roman armies were scattered throughout the world and they didn't have coins, money, to pay their soldiers, they often paid their soldiers in bags of salt. That's how valuable salt was. That's where we get the term salary. Your allotted amount of salt, your payment, your salary, was how Roman soldiers often got paid. So the notion of the importance of salt to life and to health is impossible to overstate. And Jesus says, you are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. A lamp set alight is not put under a basket and hidden. Rather, a lamp set aflame is designed to do something about the problem of darkness. In fact, that's the whole point of a lamp. A lamp is a solution to the problem of darkness. We don't light lamps, at least certainly not in the ancient world, maybe some do today, just for its own decoration purposes. The idea of a light is to do something about the problem of darkness. Let me put it another way. Think about what we heard in the prophet Isaiah this morning. In ancient Israel, there were laws and rules that governed every aspect of life. Every aspect of life. So when somebody were to bake bread, there were rules governing the cleaning of the pots and the pans. When somebody would eat bread, there were rules governing how the bread was blessed and a prayer that was said, and then the way in which it was eaten. But when Isaiah addresses this issue, his solution to the problem of hunger in the world, the evil of hunger, isn't to say to the people, make sure you eat your bread, you bake your bread and eat your bread in all righteousness. The solution to the problem of hunger isn't to eat bread righteously. It isn't to bake bread righteously, to follow those rules. The solution to the problem of hunger is to give your bread away. Think about the next thing Isaiah said. The problem of the evil of homelessness isn't to make sure that your home is to properly cleansed and clean and set tidy. Rather, it's to share your home with those who are homeless. The solution to the problem of nakedness isn't to make sure that you're dressed modestly. Yes, dressing modestly is important, especially in ancient Israel. But the solution to the problem of nakedness isn't to look at oneself and make sure you're dressed modestly. It's to do something about the problem itself. It's to get out of yourself. And so we could summarize this notion that the heart of being a child of God, the heart of being a disciple of Jesus Christ, is not primarily about going after my own personal goals of holiness. No, it's something more like Christian ethics. The solution to the problems of the world is not to turn inward and to try to just seek after some sort of a narcissistic spirituality, which all too often it seems that's where this goes. The solution to the problem of the evil and injustice in the world is to do something about it. It's to be a light for the world. If you are a light just for yourself, if you turn inward and seek only your own spiritual growth and leave it at that, that is not good enough. Again, personal holiness, please don't misunderstand. Personal holiness is certainly important. Jesus does talk about it a lot, but it's not the most important thing. Being personally holy and seeking after personal holiness is good, but it isn't the highest good. The highest good, the greatest goal, the most important urgency in all of Jesus' preaching is this idea that we as individuals and we as a church live in such a way as to solve the problem of darkness. Not just to keep the light for ourselves. And so this is what I mean when I say, what would it be like if we could unlearn so many of those notions about what it is to be a Christian? What if all of the self-focus and the individualism that's crept into our faith, what if somehow we could set all that aside and more deeply enter into the shocking and challenging words that Jesus says in the gospel? Today, this is the second week in a row we're hearing from the Sermon on the Mount. For the foreseeable future, all of the gospel readings will be from the Sermon on the Mount. You're going to hear this over and over and over. This challenge, not just to seek after personal holiness, even though that's good and important, but rather to let your faith, your following of Jesus, be marked by something we would call Christian ethics. Because if the world isn't a better place because of your faith, you're not doing it right. If the world isn't a better place because of our church community, we're not doing it right. This is what it means for us to be the salt of the earth. This is the solution to the problem of darkness when you and I, individually and together, are light for the world.